G'day everyone, welcome back to my painting hobby channel, and what I hope is the last of the Huns. It's the last of all the ones I have here. I'd be happy not to see any more Huns, put it that way. I'm all Hunned out. Now, what you can see in front of you, we've got 8 more mounted horse archers. Some have got swords, and they've all got a mixture of brighter and some more dull clothing sort of mixed in, like, because they are higher status. That last slot that I showed you were sort of levy troops, so as I said, I painted them in more World War II type colours, but these are a bit more colourful. They liked the silks that they found and things like that in Europe and around the Mediterranean. They highly valued that sort of stuff, and to what I understand, and perhaps these particular high status Huns have not only plundered but been paid off in things like silks as well as gold, which they were often paid off with. The Byzantines paid them off a number of times, and also, you know, eventually they became auxiliary troops in other armies of the time. But now, so you've got the 8 horse archers in the back, and then in the front you've got the really blingy kind of command stand. Quite sort of more Asiatic looking in some ways, some of this armor and the way they're portrayed here, maybe more Mongol, the sort of interesting headgear and things. And there'll be photos at the end as usual. Try to take some photos. So yeah, the some nice colors. I was happy with the combination of colors. Gone for a reddish leather for all his straps and stuff on his horse, or the harness. He's got a snazzy purple wrapped top knot, purple trousers, and then a really deep sort of silky red coat thing that both of them are wearing, with up to quite high highlights. I used a Reaper Triad, but then I added a further highlight with a newish AK 3rd gen paint that I've have here called Blood Red, which seemed appropriate for these men of blood, the horsemen of the apocalypse of their time. Oh, bit of flocking there, little bits of static grass. Anyway, they get picked up. So yeah, it's quite. I've gone for quite a densely packed tufts on the base. So again, you've got the purple here, the deep red, and the gold. I thought they all really strong, sort of complementary kind of things, work quite nicely together. And the pale horse, the pale rider, death, disease, destruction, all those sad things that they bought. Yeah, so the purple, the deep reds, and there's some black leather work as well as some. He's got black trousers. This chap's got fur-lined coat under his scale armor, which is sort of brassy bronze, and a bit of metal on the helmet there as well. And then these leather straps that hold it together, the bands. If I can show you. He's just got sort of brassy, goldy sort of plates. But this guy's held together with black leather strapping. And he's actually underneath, he's got this fur-lined coat. You can see the furs on the outside of the sleeve, but the leather itself is like a blackened leather, more crinkly looking hide, and a sort of a black horse tail. So yeah, quite striking and grim at the same time. yeah, they make a nice pair. Now, if you can say nice about the hordes of Huns swooping down on the civilized world, inverted commas. Oh, it's gone out of focus. Okay, come on. There we go. Now, my biggest point of concern with this command model, this mounted chap in particular, is this axe come pick thing that he's holding in his hand. That is just cast metal. It's quite thin and has already bent on me a number of times. I'm more than a little bit concerned about how well it will survive travel and the battlefield. I imagine when Bill first sculpted these, Bill Thornhill, he would have used like a piece of brass rod, solid brass rod, and then sculpted the head onto it. So the original master would have been quite sturdy, I imagine. But this is very thin, and so I'm a little bit concerned that Mark in New Zealand, who I been painting these guys, these Huns for, that he might find he needs to replace this this weapon, because it's just that's very thin for like soft cast, like it's not soft, but cast metal. It's a thin cast piece. It'll either snap or bend and paint will flake off or something like that. Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate things. I suppose the only way to have avoided that would have been to cast him with have his arm lower down, wielding his axe down here somewhere. But having it high up in the air like that really does, even like for gameplay on the tabletop, you go to grab the command model and you hit this and bingo, it's bent and potentially broken. So that's certainly a weak point. But anyway, it's always a bummer to think that what you spent a long time on painting get mangulated. So I saved the command stand for last because I wanted to take some extra time with it, and it was more fun to do something a bit different than I'd done a lot of the bow armed and spear armed chappies, so there was a lot of repetition with that. So it was nice to finish out with something a bit different, and then to sort of go whole hog with interesting color combos and sort of grim things like that. So yeah, it's quite a full base, like as far as tufts, all sort of fairly neutral. I once again did my trick of the yellow and white flowers, of putting some murky wash on it to tone them down so they didn't look so garish. And I think it actually ties it together much better. I even put on a little bit of staining of a homemade green wash as well on some of the tufts, just so it wasn't looking too many light coloured tufts. So sort of kind of a mixture. But I think it ties well together, and with the other bases as well, the way I've done them as an army, well, as a warband. So yes, these grim riders, somewhat apocalyptic horsemen of their time anyway. That's a recurring theme through history. But yeah, there we go. So I hope you guys enjoy the pictures that come afterwards, and have enjoyed seeing this project bit by bit. I can't show you everything all together because I do it in stages and then send it off to Mark, so that it's not accumulating here, but as I get some done, whether it's 10 at a time, 12, 8, whatever, I've sent them off. But this just happens to be the last 8 riders plus the command base, which I saved for last. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing these chaps, and enjoy the photos afterwards. Any questions, do drop them in the comments box below. I'll do my best to answer. I would say my memory is not as good as it used to be for a lot of things, so and remembering exactly what paints I use can be a challenge, but I can certainly try and point you in the right direction. But if you leave it too long and come back here like a year later, you might, I probably won't remember. But yeah. The only thing we'll remember with black leather, what I do to lighten up, and I've even done it sort of more strongly on this blackened sort of hide shield, is I take like a really dark or a black or a super dark grey, and I start to add, to get the highlights and the lighter bits, I start to add flesh tones into it, because that's basically leather as a skin. So I add some kind of flesh tone in to lighten that blacky grey. So it should contrast with other things that are black, like where I've gone a different way, and maybe I like the horse mane and I think the feather as well. I've added actually like a bluey grey, a bit more of a blue tinge into lightening up the dark greys or blacks. So it gives you a different effect, and sort of stippling it on. The same with the bits of blackened leather here on his, that under jacket that's under his armour. So yeah, well, there you go. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.